I've been flicking mint seeds in my neighbor's yard twice a day, all summer, to destroy his lawn. Your neighbor is a reckless driver who nearly hit you and your dog, so you decided to wage a silent botanical war. This one came from our /pettyrevenge, and it's a perfect case of the punishment fitting the crime, or maybe exceeding it. There's a dangerous driver in my neighborhood. He absolutely flies down my street. There are frequently children playing on the sidewalks and running across the street. Between houses, I'm frequently worried one of them is going to be hit. He also twice this year has blown through the stop sign, nearly hitting my car. In April, while walking my dog, I saw this same car fly through the stop sign and pull into his garage. He may be a terrible driver, but he had a beautiful lawn. So, twice a day I walk my dog past his house. This has always been a routine, but now on the shelf next to the poop bags, I have a package of peppermint seeds. As I walk past his house, I subtly sprinkle or flick these tiny seeds into his lawn. For those who don't know, mint is a very prolific grower and an aggressive spreader. Even a tiny fragment of root can grow into a new plant. Once roots are in the soil, it will continue to multiply until every lost bit of root is removed. His once perfect grass has been covered in little plants all summer. It looks like he's spraying and mowing, but not pulling it up by the root, so next year he'll have twice as much. Edit. Because this has been asked frequently, I have tried to get a speed survey or speed bump installed, but need 75% approval from the neighborhood, and we fund it. Police have promised increased patrols, which turns out to have been a single cruiser at 6 a.m. Mint is aggressively prolific, which means by fall his pristine lawn will be a nightmare he can't easily reverse. He's a dangerous driver who blew through stop signs and endangered kids on your street, but sabotaging his property, even slowly, makes you both people who solve problems outside the law instead of reporting him to police. Would you have felt better reporting him to local traffic enforcement instead of spending all summer with peppermint seeds in your pocket? My parents asked us to co-sign a $300,000 apartment loan, and we said no, but offered to buy it ourselves instead. You and your husband have savings. Your parents are drowning in debt and wildly overestimating their home equity. Today's internet drama comes from our /AITA, and this one splits the comment section hard. My husband and I live in Wisconsin. I'm a salesperson, he's a teacher, and we have children. We've done reasonably well and have built up significant savings, but we're definitely not wealthy enough that $300,000 is money we can just give away. My parents are in a bad financial situation. They own a house, but are heavily in debt on it, so they live in the basement and rent out the main floor. They believe they have about $400,000 in equity. We think they're being wildly optimistic. They have a large mortgage with significant penalties, a helic, and property values have fallen. We think they'd be lucky to walk away with $200,000, possibly much less. Earlier this year, they found an apartment they liked for around $300,000 and asked us to co-sign a loan to buy it. We refused because of their financial history. Instead, we offered to buy the apartment ourselves and let them live there for a fraction of market rent. They love the idea. We just needed several months to arrange our finances. This is still a major commitment for us. We have children and our own retirement to fund. The reason we can justify spending $300,000 is that we'd own the property. We'd essentially be moving part of our retirement savings into real estate while giving my parents secure, affordable housing. Eventually, we could sell it to fund our retirement. We finally got everything arranged and told them we were ready. Now they've decided the apartment they wanted 6 months ago is too small and they couldn't possibly live there. Instead, they found a much more expensive condo they like. The condo fees alone are over $1,100 per month. They insist they can afford it because they're counting on getting $400,000 from their house. The problem is that they now seem to think the money we were prepared to spend buying an apartment is essentially their $300,000. Their position is that if we're willing to spend that much helping them, why not just give them the money so they can combine it with their equity and buy what they actually want? I can see how our position might seem controlling. We'll spend $300,000 helping you, but only if we own the property. But to us, there's an enormous difference between investing $300,000 in an asset we own and simply giving away $300,000 of our family savings. Our offer still stands. We'll buy a reasonable apartment around the original price, own it, and let them live there very cheaply. Here's where it gets tense. Your parents think you're controlling them by owning the property, not helping them. You're right to refuse a cosign on a $300,000 loan they can't afford, but offering to buy the apartment and have them pay you rent instead of a bank feels like a power move dressed up as generosity. If you gave them the $300,000 outright instead, would that actually solve their debt problem or just enable it? She called her manager a perv for one comment about her uniform, and honestly, she might have been right. An 18-year-old in her first week of a part-time job confronts her 40-year-old manager over a remark that crossed the line. Today's internet drama comes from our /AITA, and the story hinges on whether that one word, underwear, was actually the whole problem. I'm sorry, English is not my first language. This happened a month ago, and I've been thinking if I was wrong in the way I reacted. Me, 18F, have always been a tall, curvy woman. I have a pear body type. That becomes a problem, especially when I have to wear shorts. Unfortunately for me, while I was doing a part-time job, my uniform consisted of shorts, mandatory, and a t-shirt they provided. I think it's important to note that every girl was wearing the same thing, and I wasn't the only curvy woman in the bunch. There was at least one other girl who was objectively larger than me in the leg/glutes area. So imagine my surprise when I show up to work the first day, wearing my uniform, which I'm going to be honest, took a lot of work for me to actually fight some of my self-esteem issues and actually go out wearing that. And one of the managers, 40-ish him, loudly commented in front of all my coworkers and some clients, "Hey, my name Dash. Aren't you afraid of going out in panties?" He used a derogatory term for underwear, which doesn't really have a translation in English. I didn't respond. I didn't yell. I froze in deep shame and stepped away to a more secluded spot and cried my eyes out. And I cried the whole shift because I was ashamed of myself and my body. Near the end of my shift, the same guy who made the comment approached me, and he tried to say it was just a joke and that I was a crybaby and that people were complaining because of my mood. Again, I didn't respond rudely. I didn't yell. I said exactly this: don't lie to me. We both know it wasn't a joke. And that's a disgusting thing to say about a woman's body, let alone a woman so much younger than you. You are a pervert. Needless to say, I lost the job. But what I really care about is, was I too childish? Was I really a crybaby? Or was he just a mean perv? Please let me know your opinion, no matter good or bad, because I need outside perspective. The manager didn't just comment once. He kept pushing the issue when she asked him to stop, which is when she snapped. NTA. A 40-year-old manager sexualizing an 18-year-old body by calling her uniform underwear is a workplace violation, not a joke, and her calling him out was appropriate. If he'd apologized the first time instead of defending himself, would you still think she overreacted? My boyfriend found his broken sunglasses in the car and demanded to know who broke them, even though I said I didn't know. You're in a relationship where your boyfriend is constantly jealous, accuses you of cheating, and now he's spiraling over a pair of sunglasses. Today's internet drama comes from r/amioverreacting, and the sunglasses are honestly the least of it. Yesterday, I found my boyfriend's sunglasses broken in the car and thought he broke them, so put them on his seat. He found them this morning and flipped out, continuously asking why they were broken and who broke them, even after I said I don't know. For context, we've had a rocky relationship because he is extremely jealous and constantly accuses me of cheating and talking to other people. In the middle of the night last night, he called me accusing me of calling someone because he saw a video on the camera we have in our room. They're because he's so insecure, but the whole time I've been on the phone with him, he just didn't remember. He did immediately apologize, though. And then this morning he came home and looked for my phone. Now I'm locked in the bathroom and am refusing to talk to him, and he sees that as a sign that there was someone in the car. Am I overreacting? He called you in the middle of the night, accusing you of cheating based on a camera he installed in your bedroom, then looked through your phone the next morning. NTA. He's weaponizing broken sunglasses as another excuse to interrogate you in a relationship already built on surveillance, false accusations, and boundary violations. The sunglasses are just the newest target. At what point does constant jealousy and phone checking stop being relationship problems and start being reasons to leave? Otto's dog has been using my lawn as a toilet for 4 months, and after he ignored my polite requests, I filed a nuisance complaint with security footage. You and your neighbor Otto are locked in a dispute over his dog's bathroom habits and whether your security cameras cross a line. Today's story comes from the unruly scroll inbox, and it's already dividing people on whether you handled this right. My neighbor Otto has been letting his dog use my lawn as a bathroom for the last 4 months. I mentioned it politely twice. He said the dog only pees on the grass and grass doesn't care. I said please clean up when it's more than pee. He rolled his eyes. Last month, I put up a doorbell camera and a second security camera on the side of the garage. I did this because our other neighbor had a package stolen, not for Otto. But once the cameras were up, I had footage of Otto's dog defecating on my lawn about 11 mornings in a row while Otto stood there scrolling his phone and never once picking up. I sent Otto 3 clips over text. Just the clips, no message. He called me screaming that I was recording him without consent and violating his privacy. Both cameras are pointed at my own property. His dog was on my lawn. He was on the sidewalk. I filed a nuisance complaint with the city and included the clips. Otto's wife came to my door yesterday, saying I was tearing the neighborhood apart over some dog waste. She said I should have just talked to him again. I did talk to him. Twice. AITA? Then Otto saw the clips you texted him. 11 mornings of his dog defecating while he scrolled his phone, and accused you of recording him without consent. NTA, though Otto will frame this differently. You warned him 3 times. The cameras were on your property for legitimate security reasons, and the footage shows him ignoring a solvable problem for months. His privacy complaint doesn't erase the fact that his dog was actively using your lawn as a bathroom while he stood there doing nothing. Would you still feel justified filing the complaint if Otto had actually picked up after his dog even once? I paid my best friend $2,400 for dental work, and she repaid me by dating my ex behind my back. You lent Sophie serious money for a root canal, and she's now secretly dating Trevor, your 3-year ex. This original unruly scroll story starts with one promise that fell apart fast and a betrayal that hit different. My best friend Sophie and I met at 22 back in 2019. We've been tight ever since. The kind of friendship where you know each other's family drama, passwords, everything. Last year, Sophie had a root canal that her insurance wouldn't cover. It was $2,400. She was devastated. I had the money and she didn't, so I paid it. She promised to pay me back slowly, $200 a month. We made it to month 3. Then I found out she was dating Trevor, my ex of 3 years. Not some random, the guy I dated from 2018 to 2021, who I still see at mutual friend hangouts. She hid it for 2 months before I found out through Instagram stories. When I confronted her, Sophie said Trevor just happened, that she felt bad about the money thing and couldn't face me. She still owes me $2,000. I told her to stop the payments and we're done. She's been texting me saying I'm holding the dental work over her head, and that real friends don't keep score. Her mom even called me, saying I was being petty. But here's the thing. She didn't just hide a relationship. She hid it because she owed me money and knew it was wrong. I'm not asking for the money back anymore. I just can't look at her the same way. Sophie hid the relationship for 2 months, only confessing when Instagram stories forced her hand, and she still owed $2,000. NTA. Sophie broke 2 trust agreements at once. She ghosted on the repayment plan and hid a relationship with someone you see regularly, then blamed guilt as an excuse for both lies. If she'd told you about Trevor up front instead of hiding it, would you still want the $2,000 back? Tasha logged into my Ticketmaster account and sold my 4 Beyoncé tickets for $800. You and your roommate Tasha have lived together 2 years in Denver, and she just sold your concert tickets without permission. This original unruly scroll story starts with one promise that fell apart fast. A sticky note password and a rent emergency. I'm 28. My roommate Tasha is 26. We've lived together for 2 years in Denver. Last month, I bought 4 tickets to see Beyoncé in June. Paid $240 each, $960 total. I showed Tasha the confirmation email, told her I was taking my sister and 2 friends. She seemed excited for me. Yesterday, I went to pull out my tickets, and they were gone. I checked my email. Tasha had logged into Ticketmaster using the password I'd left on a sticky note by the kitchen sink. She listed all 4 tickets on StubHub for $200 each and sold them within hours. I found the transaction history. $800 deposited to her bank account. When I confronted her, she said she borrowed them because she needed rent money and would pay me back later. I told her that's theft, not borrowing. She said I shouldn't have left my password visible if I didn't want her using it, and that I make more money than her anyway, so it's not a big deal. She refused to refund me, just kept repeating she'd figure it out eventually. Now she's avoiding me, and my sister is crushed. I'm thinking about small claims court or calling the cops. My friends say I'm overreacting since we're roommates, and she promised to pay back something. And here's where it gets worse. When you confronted her, Tasha said she was just borrowing the tickets and would pay you back. NTA. Tasha logged into your account without consent, sold tickets you paid $960 for, and pocketed $800, calling that borrowing doesn't make unauthorized access and resale anything but theft. If she'd asked first and offered to split the StubHub money, would you have felt differently about her selling them? I charged my brother $8,000 for his wedding venue the day before he walked down the aisle. You and Marcus co-own a barn your grandmother left you both, and when he asked to use it for his wedding, you said yes, no cost, family only. This original unruly scroll story starts with one promise that fell apart fast when the money math didn't add up. My brother Marcus and I co-own a restored barn in upstate New York that we inherited from our grandmother in 2019. We split maintenance costs 50/50. Last spring, Marcus asked if he could use it for his wedding to Jennifer in September. I said yes, no charge, family. He thanked me and seemed grateful. 2 weeks before the wedding, Marcus casually mentioned he'd already sold 180 tickets at $95 per person. That's $17,100 in revenue. I did the math. Our barn rents for $8,000 minimum. I asked him to split the venue fee since he was profiting. He refused. He said I'd already agreed, and it was family. I pointed out he was charging guests and making money off our shared property. We fought hard. I sent him an invoice for $8,000 the day before the wedding. Marcus called me screaming, said I was sabotaging him, that Jennifer was humiliated. Their mom called me next, said I was greedy. But Marcus paid it, angry, but he paid. Now, they're not talking to me, and my parents are furious. Marcus claims I ambushed him, but he sold access to our property without offering to split costs. Am I the bad guy here? Then Marcus casually drops that he's already sold 180 tickets at $95 each, $17,000 in revenue, and suddenly your family favor looks a lot different. AITA. You agreed to no charge before learning he'd monetize the space, and sending an invoice 24 hours before his wedding was punishment disguised as fairness. The time to renegotiate was when he told you about the ticket sales, not the night before. If Marcus had asked for permission to charge guests up front, would you have demanded the $8,000 then? I charged my best friend $200 to stand next to me at my wedding. You've been close to Joanna since college, and when you asked her to be a bridesmaid, she said yes, until you sent the bill. This original unruly scroll story starts with one promise that fell apart the moment the invoice arrived. I'm getting married in 4 months, and I asked my best friend Joanna, 28, to be a bridesmaid. We've been close since college. She said yes immediately. Then I sent the breakdown. Dress, $85, shoes, $60, hair and makeup, $40, and a contribution to the bachelorette weekend, $15 per person for venue rental split among 6 bridesmaids. She texted back asking if this was a joke. I explained that weddings are expensive and bridesmaids always chip in. She said she couldn't afford an extra $200 on top of everything else because she's saving for a down payment. I told her that if she really cared about my big day, she'd find the money. She asked if I'd pay for a dress instead. I said absolutely not. My fiancé's mom is already covering my dress. so why should I cover hers? Joanna went quiet for 2 days. Then she called and said she couldn't be a bridesmaid anymore. I got angry and told her she was being selfish and immature. She said, "You're asking me to choose between your wedding and my future home. That's not friendship." I hung up on her. Now mutual friends are saying I was out of line. But it's my wedding, and bridesmaids should contribute. Am I overreacting? Then Joanna asked if you'd cover her dress since your fiancé's mom was covering yours, and you said no. AITA. You told your best friend that caring about your wedding means finding $200 she doesn't have, then refused to help when she asked, all while your fiancé's mother is already paying for your dress. If Joanna walks away from this friendship, would you blame her, or would you still think she didn't care enough? My mom donated my dead aunt's jewelry, all 3 pieces, to her church while I was living overseas, and now she won't pay me back. You inherited sentimental mid-century jewelry worth around $3,000 from your Aunt Zoya, who raised you every summer and had no other heirs. This story came to the unruly scroll inbox, and it's a textbook case of boundary theft disguised as charity. My Aunt Zoya died in 2023. She left me her jewelry, 3 pieces, all mid-century, sentimental more than expensive. Total resale around $3,000. My aunt had raised me every summer growing up. She had no kids of her own, and I was her closest niece. The jewelry was in a lockbox at my mom's house because I was renting a small studio apartment and did not trust the storage. My mom knew every piece was mine. We had discussed it explicitly at least twice. I moved to Berlin for a 9-month work rotation last September. 3 weeks ago, my mom mentioned casually over FaceTime that she had helped the church by donating some jewelry she had no use for to their charity auction. She had donated the entire lockbox, every piece of Zoya's jewelry. I called the church directly. The auction was in February. All 3 pieces sold to anonymous buyers. Total raised $1,800. My mom insists she thought it was hers because it was in her house. I told her she owes me either the pieces recovered somehow or the resale value in cash. She said I was being greedy about some old jewelry and that the money went to a good cause and Zoya would have approved. AITA, your mom had discussed the lockbox with you twice, knew every piece was yours, then casually mentioned over FaceTime she'd donated the entire box to a church auction. NTA, your mom knew the jewelry was yours. You discussed it explicitly at least twice and donated a $3,000 inheritance without permission while you were abroad. Calling it helping the church doesn't erase that she gave away property that wasn't hers to give. The only question is whether she genuinely forgot or pretended to. If your mom had asked first and you'd said no, would she have respected that answer?